Hi everyone, DJ here. Welcome back to the channel. Let me tell all of you, I am very excited for today's topic character, as it is one that I have wanted to cover for a while now, but for one reason or another, never got around to it. And that character is of course Gina, the Italian shunting competitor in the Great Railway Show, and frequent Big World Big Adventures recurring character. Gina is a character that as a kid I was very excited to see, as, fun fact about me, although I am Canadian, I am also of Italian heritage, which is something I was and still am very proud of. Thus, having a character from my culture in Thomas and Friends was really awesome at the time. But is Gina an interesting character? Does her basis have a cool story? And were her episodes spotlighting Italy good? Without further ado, let's get into it and figure out the answers to those questions, shall we? Gina is a small, green Italian tank engine who first appeared in the 2016 Thomas and Friends film The Great Race, with all of the other international engines when their ship bound for the mainland docked at Brendam by mistake. Here, Gina could be seen calling out to the other engines to get back on the ship, and asking if someone was missing when it became apparent that Ashima had been left behind. She was then later seen puffing around the Great Railway Show yards and competing in the shunting challenge alongside Thomas, Ashima, Ivan, and Raoul. She did not have great fortunes in the competition, however, as her flatbeds were derailed by Vinny chasing after Philip, and she ultimately lost the challenge to Thomas and Ashima. After the Great Railway Show was over, she returned to Italy and appeared in a 2017 Great Race Friends Near and Far short called Gina the Smart Steam Engine. In this short, while waiting on the mainland to depart for home, Vinny boasts to Gina about being the strongest engine in the world, and fed up with his boasting, Gina plays a trick on Vinny. She challenges Vinny to a challenge of strength, however, rather than coupling up to Vinny herself, she gets Shane to without letting Vinny realize what's going on. Hijinks ensue, Vinny crashes into some watermelons, and all the engines have a good laugh. Gina then went on to become a recurring character in Big World Big Adventures, starting with the two-part special Digs and Discoveries in 2019. In the first part, All Tracks Lead to Rome, Thomas begins working on the Italian railway and continually proclaims himself to be an expert about things like archaeology, while not really knowing anything and coming off arrogant and annoying. This causes him and Gina to fall out, and eventually get into a pickle as Thomas takes a wrong track delivering cargo to the museum, and ends up in a mine where he thinks the lost engine may be. Gina comes to find him, but Thomas accidentally knocks her off the tracks, the impact triggering a landslide which the pair narrowly escape. After which the pair reconcile and realize they are friends after all. In the second part, Minds of Mystery, Gina appears working alongside Thomas to build the new museum, helps to bring the pack characters in from the coast when they are delivered by Stefano, and is present as Lorenzo, Beppe, and Thomas are helped out of the mine by Stefano. In the end of the episode, she affirms that she loves working with Thomas to reassure him as he laments his many mistakes in Italy, and with that, Digs and Discoveries concludes. Gina then appeared in the Season 23 episode Too Loud Thomas, where Thomas's constant attempts at singing cause him to lose his voice, making him unable to tell Stefano to wait for Gina before he leaves, until Thomas found an alternate means of relaying the message, and Gina arrived with her cargo without Stefano leaving. She also appeared in the Season 23 episode Lorenzo's Solo, where she is asked to deliver the opera singer Dame Bella Canto. However, Lorenzo, wanting to deliver the opera star, gives Gina Beppe so that he can arrive with the larger carriage that the vain Dame Bella will want to travel in, leading to Gina and Beppe taking the band and Lorenzo the singer. The wiki describes Gina as sweet and stylish, able to match the boys pound for pound in terms of shunting. She is very proud of her Italian heritage and loves working on archaeological digs. She does not tolerate fools easily and gets very irritated around know-it-alls. She also does not care to be implied that she huffs and puffs, but she is loyal and caring. Gina is based on the Ferrovie Nord Milano 200 040T locomotive. The locomotive was one of 7, built by the locomotive builder Coulet in Marcinelle, Belgium, for the Societe Ferrovie Anonima del Ticino in 1883. The engines were used on the Sorano, Malnate, and Grandate Malante routes, which were eventually acquired by the Ferrovie Nord Milano Railway in 1888, and the locomotives came under the new railway's ownership as well. With this purchase, they were all renumbered 201 to 207, and later 200-01 to 200-07. These engines boasted many interesting design features, including 2 coupled axles, saturated steam tanks, and Valschertz valve gear. They boasted a maximum speed of 60 kilometers an hour, and they were utilized for local services, but slowly moved to more and more menial tasks as more powerful engines began to arrive. By the 1920s, electrification began to take hold, and by the mid-1930s, the 200s were relegated to shunting duties only, predominantly at Milano Cardona station. Final withdrawals began in the 1960s, 3 engines having already been scrapped in the 1930s. By 1971, 2 more were scrapped. However, in 1974, locomotive 200-05 was restored and began to see use on heritage services, making it now the second oldest operating locomotive in Europe, operated by the Lenord SRL, a subsidiary of the FNM Group. One more locomotive, 200-04, has also been preserved. It is, however, on static display at Saronno, and it wears a different number, that being 200-2. Now, Gina does not have a number, so I can't say that she is 100% supposed to be 200-05. However, her livery, unlike a lot of her Great Race contemporaries, is taken directly from 200-05, and seeing as how it is the only preserved and running FNM 200, I think it's at least highly likely that in the canon of Thomas and Friends, Gina is meant to be 200-05. A very interesting history for Gina. Okay, so originally I had a very different first part of this segment written. However, for this video, I actually sat and rewatched most of the Italy episodes, and I have to say, they are a lot better than I remember. They are by no means perfect, and I wish they focused on more railway stuff than surface level, ancient Rome information, and the word ciao. But overall, I came out of the rewatch not completely hating the episodes like I initially thought I did. I will say, though, the Italy episodes at least do a pretty decent job highlighting the archaeological importance of places like Italy in the Mediterranean. And I like that Gina's character ties into that. I like that she is very passionate about her homeland and history, and I like that she actually gets angry with Thomas because, let's be honest, Thomas is annoying to no end in these episodes, so having a character that actually gets upset with him and kind of puts him in his place is really refreshing. I think it's honestly just nice to have a consistent character with definable traits in this era that isn't just happy, silly, nice, whatever. Gina has a little bit more to her than that, and it's just fun to watch. Definitely a rare case of actually good character improvement and consistency in this era. Okay, so here we have the 2016 Adventures Gina, which is actually a pretty decent model considering in this era of the die-cast line, the engines were very squashed and not super well designed. I feel that Gina's model does a good job of riding the line between what the line was going for in terms of proportions, while actually showing and being a fairly accurate representation of how Gina looks. The face is great, the paint is good, and if I have one complaint, it's that her nameplate isn't on both sides. Kind of weird oversight, but I can live with that. I'm giving Adventures Gina a 7 out of 10. Well, folks, that concludes this week's episode on Gina. Man, we are flying through these international characters quick, eh? Thank you guys for watching. If you have any suggestions for future characters, please leave them in the comments. I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys!